thank you for inviting me to have a look at the most intriguing and interesting projects, and this is what we are doing now. We will have a look into 4 projects in process, if I'm correct, and they will be presented to you by the residents themselves. So we just start first with the presentation of each of these 4 projects, and then I will invite the residents to join me here on stage, and I will have a few questions, and then maybe we also move to the presentations. Maybe you have already seen that there is also material in this room, which is also very important, not just to look at beautiful pictures, but also to have a more in-depth knowledge of what does that mean, working with textiles. So for a start, I would like to introduce you to Micaela Fernández Martín. She's a multidisciplinary artist, an illustrator and print creative, as she told me. So, and she, in that respect, connects drawings with fabrics. She holds a Bachelor in Fine Arts and Textile and Fashion Design, and is currently teaching a course about direct intervention methods on natural textiles in Spain. So she has in-depth knowledge of 2 disciplines, namely illustrating or drawing, as well as textile and fashion. Currently, she's searching for new forms of graphic expression that connect illustration and weaving, treating the latter, weaving, as a storytelling medium. So she also tries to come up with narratives, with stories in textile, which is most intriguing. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, so good afternoon now, everybody, and I'm really glad to be here presenting my TaDA project. Well, as Spinnerei told you, I'm an illustrator and a fashion designer. So I really feel in the middle of these 2 fields because drawing, as you can see, is my main part of my fashion design. And I often usually draw and paint directly on the garments, but that takes me a lot of time, so in terms of producing it's really difficult to increase the quantity. But I also love that my relation with the garments are really direct, and I control at 100% my production, because my productions, my productions, they are my hands. Well, I can project my voice, if not. Okay. So, well, I always start with the paper. It's my main surface as an illustrator. And as part of my project, at the beginning I wanted to include the paper in the project itself, but physically I was playing with it, and then more projects came out, so I have to select just a few to show you that you can also close afterwards. And the big motivation for me here at TaDA is to try to go deeper into an industrial process and try to profit from this industrial process, but without leaving the handcraft part of it, because it's really important for me. So for this problem, I use mostly 2 techniques, which are spin printing at Textile with marking, and also sublimination and cutting with Barbara at Loca. Well, as I said before, the paper is really, really important in my process, and I figured out while I was making the project that my way of treating the paper is really similar to my way of treating the fabrics. With layers, I usually cut the paper and then play with the composition, try different possibilities of it. And I mean, one of my problems as a designer, I guess, is that I never know where to start, so I just add and add and add, because I think that my character as an illustrator is also to be really detailed and to have this narrative as much complex as possible, and then you can go there and try to see one face that is cheerful, another one that is not cheerful. I mean, like have a whole variety in it. And this was also a challenge for screen printing because I usually do really thin lines with Chinese ink. So I have to use a really different, not average screen for screen printing. And it took more time because the more difficult, the more time it takes, of course. But again, it's a negotiation between the machine and the handcraft production. And well, there you can see afterwards that while I was making the screen printed production, there was a mistake in the machine, and I'm really glad that there was a mistake in the machine because the machine don't have either 100% control of its production. And for me, I would like to think that I want to embrace that because one of my problematics that I said at the beginning is that as I am not intervening the garment directly, the garment is not so special because it's part of a series, it's part of an edition, it's part of a production. So with this mistake is a difference, and I can afterwards intervene and, or not, or leave it like that, but this is also part of the screen printing, is part of the charm, so I guess that it was also a natural match between the screen printing and me. Well, so as an illustrator, I also have several more challenges because, for example, this is a big watercolor drawing that I have there, and maybe it have like 30 colors or more, and shades of colors too. So if I want to translate this into the language of screen printing into a digital languages, because machines just understand digital, I have to be more simple and transform the colors into, in this case, 3 colors. So you can see I selected these cats. I'm also a cat lady. So you can see that I lost texture in the way, but I gain another version, which is also interesting. Well, more examples. You can also maybe Martina can pass you the scarf, well, the future scarf, because as I said Meredith before, this is all a process, and afterwards I want to take this into fashion field. Well, here again I was playing with the paper because also conceptually I found really interesting that the artwork itself has, it's next to the edition because the value is so really different. Well, here I discovered Lopra and the applications that I could do with them as a vinyl, with foil. I cut these shapes and then with heat, I fix it into the fabric. And that is also a solution for the problem of keep it special, because with this application, as you can see in the scarf, in the future scarf, I mean, I don't have to put everything in the same place. I can choose in which place or which sphere I'm going to put here or there. And in this case, I also translate my drawings into a digital file, another type of digital file, but I don't know if go deeper into technicism, but well, the thing is that I use mainly the silhouettes of these drawings, and then I took back some of the splashes of colors that I did while I was making this watercolor design, because I don't know, I had a good advice from Martin too, and I really like the way of the process. So I make a print with that. Ooh, sorry. I make a print with that, and then I cut the beers, with this machine, which is the plotter. And then I was cutting it, and I see, okay, how can I go with this to the fashion field? And I mean, sequence, it was like the answer. So the thing is that I can print whatever design I like in the foils, and then cut them. So that's what I did. This is the watercolor brushes that I took when I modified a little, and then I printed, and then I cut it in different shapes of earth, and in different sizes too. So I think that it has also possibilities to go afterwards, like an installation, or I think that it's also coherent with my idea of overlapping, of putting images on top of the others, because as an illustrator I work with images all the time and with maybe over images, because for me more is more. So well, in this case I took back again the thin line design that was supposed to be for screen printed, and I use it for with Lobda. Well, with Lobda sometimes I have some restrictions, because for example I only could use silver or transparent foil, and I wanted golden, so then I put like a yellow color there, so in some parts you can see that the sequins are golden. And then I mix the sequins with another print. I mix it, of course, with textile with the screen printed of textile duperie. And I think that to go to get that and took it to the fashion field, it's really easy. I mean, like, there's been a really busy 3 months, but I think that it's also a really great starting point. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maybe just to start, could you explain me why you, or what brought you to combine these two kind of arts, like textile or illustration and textile design? Why did you think you will have to use the textiles as a kind of a ground for conveying your stories? Why this switch from paper to textile?
Well, because we always wear textile, so I would like to take that vitality of my drawings into the people, because I also draw a lot of people, and my inspiration gets a lot of the daily life.
Yeah.
And because also my background and my studies are both a fashion design degree and a fine art degree, and I thought that it could match really well.
Yeah. So if you look at us all, you think it is so boring. Just all these dark colors, no illustrations on your t-shirts or on your clothes. Is it exactly that what you want to change?
I just have to put the possibility there. I mean, like, they don't have to change their way of wearing clothes, of course, but maybe if you feel a day especially charming and especially that you want to get a little of magic, you go to a special place, maybe you can have something more special too.
Yes. You just explained to us the differences between drawing and painting on paper and on fabrics. If you all have questions about the technicalities of this transformation or translation, then please just wave your hand, and then we will be able to, or you will be able to answer the questions. But if I understood you correctly, this is also a question of layering.
Yeah.
And so three-dimensionally, or working in a more three-dimensional way. But at the same time, we also know these techniques of drawing in a three-dimensional way. Is this any different now? I mean, or what is working with textiles bring you more?
Well, actually, it was more similar than I thought, because the digital files that I needed to do for the machinery, they also work by layers. But in Photoshop, you all know Photoshop, so yeah, well, on Illustrator, so the program is also distributed like that. And then when I draw or when I paint, I mean, there are also layers, because it's color above color and above pencil. Yeah, I mean, at least my style of illustration is not really minimal, I would say.
You can have a look at these wonderful, densely populated illustrations, which is also a kind of, for me, a kind of filmic experience, because I start making kind of my own movie if I'm looking at your drawings, at your illustrations.
That's the point, yeah.
Exactly. So there's not only this three-dimensionality, but also kind of a filmic aspect to it. Is that correct?
Yes, totally. I mean, it's at the end adding images and adding clips of life, and that is also I think that I would love to achieve maybe in the future to bring the paper inside it as the bottom layer.
Yeah, yeah. So, but maybe if we go a bit deeper into what your narratives are, what your stories are that you're telling us, where do you find inspiration for your stories?
I pay a lot of attention on how I feel, and I think that I am really extrovert, and well, I'm really nervous here, but I am really social person too. So, for example, I listen to a lot of music while I'm drawing, so that came up the idea of the concert, and then while I am using the music, sometimes I pay attention to the video clips, and there they are. Then, for example, I saw my roommate Nelly with a glass, and then I saw her like on the back of the glass, and I saw how her eyes were more big, and then I just, because of the water, I just thought details that I like. And I use those details and embrace those details because there is a lot of power in the routine and in the daily life and in the simple things. For example, in the drawing design, you can also see that there is full with notebooks and like agendas. Because here, this was a really incredible learning process about how I could use the machinery, but it was also a really learning process about management of time. So there was also like a annotation of dates and numbers and
Yes, exactly. What brings me to the next question is drawing and illustrating is, in my point of view, a kind of a singular activity. Like you are all alone with your observation, with your sheet of paper, with your pen, and then you just start. But in textile industry, this is completely different. So how did that change your approach to your drawings? To have to work with other people who know how the machine is working, what mistakes the machine makes?
Well, as I said before, I love to be alone, but I am really social person, so I really like to work with more people and to get the insights also, because, for example, I think that I also said that I talk a lot, so, and I do a lot, and for me more is more, so sometimes I ask them, okay, should I stop now? So, I love to hear advices, and then I do what I want, but sometimes,
But working with other people is fine.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so you applied for this residency with a beautiful project of traveling through Switzerland. What happened with that?
Well, it's still there in a way, I think. It was kind of a graphic sketchbook diary because it was a really free idea, so it allowed me to do whatever I wanted. And but yeah, I guess in the process I just have to stick with a design in case the music, the concert design took me some time to do it. So the time is crucial.
Yeah. Okay. So
it makes anything.
I think the ones who have heard the process of the residents from last year, they also noted that these 3 months are quite stressful, tight to make everything you want. So timing is kind of an issue.
Yeah, but I think that maybe also because there is just 3 months, you live it more intensely and you push yourself more in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's also a good challenge.
Yes. Okay. I read that you're interested in working with natural fibers. Is this of any concern to you now in this project for the residency?
Well, I have to say that I wanted to work with natural fibers because the natural color of the cotton or the linen it is so similar of the natural color of the paper. So I always came back to the paper, and maybe I was interested and intrigued because of that aesthetical aspect. But of course, that searching, and also because of the touch of how the clothes feel, I'm more interested in natural fibers. But I think that this is still an issue that I have to discuss with myself and with other people, because as you said before, if I want to work in the textile field, I have to work with people. So.
But this will be ongoing.
Yes,
ongoing
totally.
interest.
Totally.
Okay. So maybe what is of interest to me is if you wear textiles that tell a story, the story changes with the moving of your body, and or with I just look at your beautiful scarf and the way you wear that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see different parts of this story of this scarf. Yeah. Is this and you as a trained fashion designer as well? So how do you transpose these stories into clothes?
Yeah.
Do you want to control everything?
No.
Or is it?
No. I think that I love the random aspect of it. In fact, I found curious that when I was working with Lobra and cutting the sequins with the plotter, I sometimes the faces of the people of the crowd in the concert, they didn't coincide necessarily with the circles, because also the machinery is not really 100% secure, and so maybe you got one face or maybe you don't. And then, for example, I remembering what you said about the movement, I love to work with the silks because I love the fall of those silks, and yeah, I mean, I like that maybe childish idea of finding whatever you find, but finding it, not going into it.
Which also is an artistic strategy in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. So I look into the round. If somebody wants to ask Anna, Micaela, last questions. Okay. Otherwise, you will have the possibility to look a bit more closely what she has done. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And